Welcome to Mikanko Adventure Ghostrick. Now Mikanko's deck is coming out in only a few days in Amazing Defenders, and plenty of people, myself included, have been playing around with the deck as either an engine ritual decks, or as an OTK deck, or a control deck. It has a ton of flexibility. But one archetype that can be used as a shelfer that I think might just be very interesting is the sort of Adventure Ghostrick Utopic Future deck that was being played around for a short while ago. And while the deck was largely abandoned because namely it has a very low ceiling and some awkwardness going second, I think Mikanko might just be exactly what the deck needs to break through those issues and become something meta viable. So I'll just real quickly go over the Mikanko cards in case you're not aware of what they do. I made several videos going in depth with exactly what their effects mean. You can see, or I'm sure some other YouTuber you might have seen explain it, but just for quick reference, Mikanko the Ohime is a ritual monster, which has a couple of different effects. You can ritual summon it with Mikanko Kagura, and it is immune to battle, and reflects battle damage that you would take to your opponent if they battle it. Then it has two extremely powerful effects. One of them is that you can reveal this card in your hand, add a Mikanko card from your deck to your hand except for Ohime, then discard one card. Then the second effect is an on-field effect, which quick effect you can target one equip spell in your graveyard and equip it to an appropriate monster on the field. Both of these are incredibly strong. Well, for first, Ohime's first effect allows you to basically just search any Mikanko card, including a quick play spell that is very instrumental in making Ohime very strong in his deck, and its on-field effect lets you do things like snatch steal an opponent's monster on their turn. So it's a very powerful card and definitely worth including. As far as the other Mikanko cards, we have their two monsters, the first of which is Nini, and then the second of which is Hair. Now both of these share a couple of different effects. If they're not equipped with an equipped card, you take no battle damage from them. If they are, they cannot be destroyed by battle, and your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken, the same reflection effect. Then they both have a different effect based on when they're either become equipped with an equipped spell or are actively equipped with one. For example, Nini, during your opponent's turn, while it's equipped with an equipped card, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls and take control of it until the end phase. Then Hair, when it becomes equipped with an equipped card, you can search one Mikanko equipped spell. Both very strong effects, and both of these are very easily accessible, not only with Ohime, but what I believe to be the strongest equipped spell of the deck, Arabesque. Now Arabesque has the first line where the equipped monster can be destroyed by card effects, which most Mikanko equipped spells share. Its actual main effect is during your main phase, you can special summon one Mikanko monster from your hand or deck with a different original name than the equipped monster. If you do, equip with this card, then return to hand the monster this card is equipped to. Not only can you use this on monsters you control, you can reuse this as a removal card on your opponent's monsters, basically going +1 off of just one equipped spell. It's very strong. Then, the other relevant equipped spells is Inviting Rondo of the Mikanko. Basically, this card is just snatch steal while you control Mikanko, but notably, when this card leaves the field, send the equipped monster to the graveyard. So, this means even if your opponent gets rid of Rondo, they lose that monster anyways, unless they linked it off first. Then the last of the Mikanko equips I'm running is Blazing Dance. Basically, this lets you just special summon a Mikanko from your hand or graveyard, and equip with this card, then you can optionally summon a monster from your opponent's grave to their field but negate the effects. Now the other relevant Mikanko card is the quick play spell, the Great Mikanko of Legend, which lets you to special summon one Mikanko monster from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions, but return to the hand during your opponent's end phase. Then during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, send one Mikanko card from your deck to the grave, except for Great Mikanko of Legend. And this is the main way you're going to be summoning Ohime, as it just lets you slap it on the field. And even though it has the downside of returning to your hand, that means you can just get Ohime in the hand and use its search effect again on the following turn. Now as for ratios, I'm running triple Ohime as it lets you search any Mikanko, it's very strong. I'm running one of each of the main deck summonable Mikankos as there's different situations where you want to use them, but you don't want to brick on them. I'm running 3 of Arabesque because it's just incredibly flexible and incredibly strong. Then I'm running 1 Inviting Rondo as you can just dump it very easily to search it. You don't really need multiple copies. Same goes for Blazing Dance, it's even more niche, but there are situations where you really want it. Then I'm running 2 Great Mikanko of Legend, as it's very strong, and ideally I would like to run 3, but I feel like at 3 with this low amount of Mikankos, it's very bricky. So having 2 allows you to do the main sort of ritual combo while also actually having a turn 3 play to do it again by searching Great Mikanko again. As for the other main engines, we have Adventure and Ghostrick. You'll notice there's no main deck Ghostrick monsters. That's because in the goals of this deck, the Ghostrick monsters are terrible. They don't actually offer anything for this list. But the extra deck and spell traps are very potent, as they let you do things like make Utopic Future Dragon or search Necro Valley on the opponent's turn and activate it. To start off with, I'll go over the extra deck. In this case, we're running 3 Ghostrick Angel of Mischief and 2 Ghostrick Alucard. Now these are relevant because Alucard can be summoned with 2 level 3s, then you can overlay Mischief over it, and Mischief's effect is that once per turn, you can search a Ghostrick spell trap card from your deck. As far as the actual Ghostrick spell traps are concerned, we have Shot, Renovation, and Mansion. Now, as you can tell by it being ranked 3, Shot is by far the strongest one, as it lets you summon a Ghostrick from hand or grave, and then there's a bunch of other effects, but they're not relevant here. The main thing is that it's basically just a recurable reborn. Now, how is it recurable? Well, that's because Alucard is the effect where when it's sent to the grave, you can just grab a Ghostrick card from your grave and add it to the hand. This is not only non-once per turn, this even activates if Alucard's attached to the Xyz material, which is a very good effect. Now, the other spells that are relevant is Mansion. It's a terrible card, but you need it because of Renovation, which has the effect where you can target 1 Ghostrick field spell in your field zone, return to the hand, and you can activate 1 field spell from your hand or deck. In this case, Necro Valley it's basically just the best target in the terms of this deck to activate. Now, why am I running triple Shot? Is it searchable? That's because in order to get the sort of Necro Valley line, you need to either open up 1 of the Ghostrick spells and access to Alucard, or Parallel Exceed and access to Alucard, as just having only access to the Ghostrick line will only get you 2 Ghostrick spell traps. You already need a way to get the 3, but if you get the 3, you get Necro Valley. So it's worth playing, and Shot, if you hard draw it, it also lets you sort of play through something like Ash Blossom if they negate your first Mischief. It's a very strong card, and it doesn't feel bad to run this many copies, even if you can sometimes brick on it. Now, the actual goals of this deck, or this engine, is to get to Utopic Future, and then Utopic Draco Future. And well, Utopic Draco Future, if you don't know, is immune to battle and card effect destruction, and is a monster negate that can then steal that monster. And you can make this by having 2 monsters of the same rank, which in this case is Mischief, as you go through a line to summon 2 Mischief, overlay to Utopic Future, and a Utopic Draco Future. Then, on the following turn, you can use the Shot you added back to the hand to summon something like Mischief or Alucard, make Downard, and then make Zeus. A very strong turn 3 play, especially if your opponent exhausted all the resources playing through your board. As for the Adventure cards, well, I don't really feel any to go over them. I'd be shocked if you don't know what they do, but basically the idea is that you can get an Omni Negate every single turn on your turn. You'll see in the test hands what exactly the deck does, but the relevant part is that Water Enchantress has an additional layer of usability in this deck, because it's a level 3 and it has an ability to special summon itself. So you can use Water Enchantress plus something like a summoned Psychic Wielder or Tracker to go into the Ghostrick combo and then search Rite of Air Seer. So it's actually very flexible in this deck and makes it a lot more consistent. And well, it's just definitely worth running. You don't really have any normal summon effects you need. Maybe one of the Mikankos, but there's plenty of ways to get them out of the hand. Something like Blazing Dance or Great Mikanko, and often you'll just be using them as rank 3 fodder or searching them well past the point where you activated Rite of Air Seer. As for the other extra deck cards, I'm running Ghostrick Festival because you can make it off of a Ghostrick non-link monster, and this is relevant to summon Parallel Exceed, to play through hand traps, or to get the big 3-card Necro Valley combo, because then you can just summon Mischief, because Mischief can be summoned with any 2 level 4s. The Night Beam Masquerade is just a good generic link monster, especially when you have cards like Inviting Rondo, that you can maybe link it off a stolen monster into IP. Same goes for Dark. The Dark Charmer, strong card. It can also be made of Festival or really any of the Ghostrick extra deck cards. And then Nightmare and Access Code, because they're just generically strong and they're not too hard to summon in this deck. And here's an example of a hand that actually goes over the Mikanko line. In this case, is a hand of a Water Enchantress, Psychic Tracker, Ohime, Ash Blossom, and Itelli. To start off with, we'll go ahead and just fire off Mikanko of the Ohime. And in this case, we will search with it Great Mikanko of Legend. And we'll discard Water Enchantress. Pretty nice, because we can then just go ahead and activate Water Enchantress to search Rite of Air Seer. Water Enchantress in general is a very flexible card in this deck. Activate Rite of Air Seer to just start off the Adventure line. Then go ahead and activate E-Tele, summoning from our deck, Psychic Wielder. Then activate Ginyu or Faithful Adventure's effect, searching Draco back, activate Faithful Adventure, just do the normal adventure things. Then afterwards, go ahead and summon Psychic Tracker and go through the Ghostrick line, in this case summoning Alucard, and then overlaying for Ghostrick Angel of Mischief. Then activate Mischief effect, detach specifically Alucard, and search from my deck to your hand, Shot. Then afterwards, we'll go ahead and activate Shot to summon Alucard, and then repeat the same process of summoning Mischief, in this case going ahead and detaching Alucard to search Ghostrick Mansion. You could search either of the Ghostrick cards remaining, they're not relevant. Then trigger Alucard's effect to grab Shot from grave to hand, then overlay both into Utopic Future, and then overlay into Utopic Draco Future. Then activate Great Mikanko Legend, use summon from our hand, Ohime, then use Great Mikanko, dump from deck to grave, inviting Rondo, and passing. So, what does this end board do? Well, Utopic Draco Future is a monster negate that can even steal. One in Griffin Rider's non-negate, we have Ash, and then Ohime lets you quick effect equip a Mikanko spell from our grave to an appropriate monster in the field. In this case, we can equip Inviting Rondo, which will take control of the opponent's monster. And as a follow-up play, we can go ahead on the next turn. When Ohime gets back to our hand, we can use its search effect again to search basically whatever we want that's necessary. Use something like Shot to summon the Ghostrick Xyz from the grave onto the field to make Zeus. There's tons of stuff you can do on the following turn. The deck has very good follow play even if your whole board's broken. As for a hand that actually does the sort of Necro Valley line I mentioned, this is a hand consisting of Water Enchantress, Parallel Exceed, Great Mikanko, Psychic Wielder, and Rider Seer. To start off with, we'll go ahead and activate Rider Seer to go through the Ghostrick cards, or Adventure in this case. Then, we can special summon Water Enchantress because we control Adventure token. Then, activate this effect to search Draco back, and go ahead and activate the effect, search Griffin Rider, discard Draco back, just standard adventure things. Then go ahead and special summon Psychic Wielder. This gives us material to go ahead and make Alucard and go through the Ghostrick line, but it differs because we have Parallel Exceed in this hand. So go ahead and activate Angel of Mischief, detach Alucard, search Shot, then afterwards, we will link off into Ghostrick Festival and trigger Exceed's effect. Go ahead and summon Exceed and summon the other from deck. And with this, make another Mischief, detach, and search Mansion. Then, we will activate Shot to summon Alucard and go into Mischief. Using Mischief, we will search the last Ghostrick spell trap, in this case Renovation, and then make or activate Alucard to get Shot back to the hand for the following turn and make Utopic Draco Future. Then go ahead and activate, Water Enchantress just to get Aramesir, and then activate Mansion and set Renovation. Then, on the opponent's turn, go ahead and fire off Renovation, return Mansion to hand, and activate Necro Valley. So what does this board do? Well, we have the same Utopic Draco feature and one Griffin Rider and Necro Valley, and that kind of hurts us. We can't use Shot, but the idea behind this is that, well, the duel just ends here. If you activate this card against most relevant decks right now, like something like, Tear Lament or even Sprite, unless they get rid of Necro Valley, they lose. And then if they get rid of Necro Valley, on the following turn, all your stuff becomes live again. So it's a very strong combo that has quite a few different hands that can make it. Here's an example of one more hand. This is a kind of stranger, less good one, consisting of Rider Seer, Double Ohime, Ash Blossom, and Psychic Wielder. So while this hand might not look great, it can do a lot. To start off with, we go ahead and activate Ohime's effect to search from our deck to our hand, Great Mikanko, and then discard the other Ohime. Then activate Rider Seer, summon the token, and then place Faithful Adventure on the field, activate Great Mikanko to summon Ohime from our hand, trigger Faithful Adventure's effect, throw trigger back, just standard adventure things. But here I decided to just go ahead and do Great Mikanko. The ordering doesn't really matter too much. In this case, dumping Inviting Rondo, then going for Griffin Rider. And then here, we have asking, well, how do you go through Ghostrick cards? Something to remember, Ash Blossom's a level 3 monster, so you can use it as material for the Ghostrick combo, which is very nice, as there's definitely times where you'll want to just normal summon Ash Blossom because, well, Utopic Draco Future plus Zeus on the crackback is a lot more useful than just Ash Blossom in your hand. In this case, just going through the normal stuff, drawing Alucard, grabbing Shot, and making Utopic Draco Future. This is a line you'll definitely have to memorize with this deck, but it's not too hard, thankfully. So this board is pretty much the same as usual. A Snatch Steal, Draco Future Negate, Griffin Rider, with good crackback. Pretty good, even though the hand looked really bad. So in conclusion, this deck has a ton of potential, as even this pretty unoptimized deck list definitely has a good bit of kick to it. You can usually put about 3 interruptions pretty consistently on your field, or even get a Necro Valley on board. And going second, you have plenty of tools. The Adventure Engine is very solid for breaking boards, same goes for Mikanko. You can make Zeus very easily. There's just tons of things. There's pretty good amount of room for side deck cards. As when you're going second, you can probably cut down on the bit of the level 3 stuff, as you'll be drawing an extra card. You won't have to worry about breaking as much. I think this is a variant of the deck that is very much worth looking into and testing. And I hope some better deck builders than me can actually play around with it to see what the deck can actually really do at its fullest. And that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and feel free to leave any feedback you have in the comments, and subscribe if you want to see more in the future.